Yes. What's good, family? My name is Rolam. That is Kayla Rainey, and we are back with another episode of the Rainey and Ro Show.
Yeah, we are the podcast for the professionally curious and the creatively minded.
Let's go. Yes, it's so good to be back. Um, let's see. Today we're going to talk about creative burnout and some ways that we sort of combat that, some ways that we, overcome some of these hurdles and obstacles that we encounter as artists and creatives. But before we do that, let's talk about what is inspiring us from the week. Kayla Rainey, talk to us.
Oh, every single week, every single week. And I always forget to like pre-figure out my answer to it. But I will say, so I was thinking about this literally right before we signed on as I was trying to like finish dinner and finish emails and like also finish a sketch that I had started and take my dogs out and it was like doing 10 million things at once before I hopped on here. I was thinking about how ironic it is that the thing that I have been trying to be most inspired by and mindful of since I got back from my sort of like hiatus that we had to go on for my family emergency, the thing that I've been trying to be most mindful of is like self-care when it comes to my work, when it comes to my studio practice, and the fact that we're talking about it today is like not lost on me because I've been trying to get back to working out regularly. I've been trying to get back to like making sure that I'm reading and doing my morning routine and those things. So I think that just the fact that I've actually been doing it and haven't had a full-blown panic attack over it yet is what's keeping me going this week. I
No,
can feel the doubts starting to creep in. I can feel the whispers of like, you're not getting enough done. You're not spending enough time doing this. It's
right.
starting, but I'm trying really hard to just smush them down.
Yeah. No, I feel it. I feel it. Um, is it my turn? It's my turn.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. I was thinking about this before we got on. I feel like I had a lot to say. Um, I was actually working on a blog today, and
Uh-huh.
um, I was writing about what it's like the realities of being your own boss, and
Yeah.
I was like listing out some of the things, and I was just thinking about one of the things I talked about was like the it's cool to be free, it's free to be your own boss, but with that freedom comes all these responsibilities.
Uh-huh.
Uh,
Uh-huh.
when you work a 9 to 5, you can go to the 9 to 5 and you can clock in at 9,
Yep.
clock out at 5, and you leave all your work there.
Yep.
But when you're your own boss, it's yours. You know what I'm saying? If
Yes.
it goes wrong, like it's your responsibility to fix it and put it back together, make those decisions. Um, so I don't know. That was really speaking to me as I was writing it. I'm like, wow, like this is because now I'm moving more. And I've talked about this before, but
Yeah.
really being more business minded about my art and being more intentional about where I'm going and what I'm doing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so that was the first thing that I wanted to talk about. The second thing that I wanted was I
Of course
wanted
you have
to
two.
yes, part two. Yes,
You're
I
such an
wanted to
overachiever.
no. So this one is a little bit more of a serious one. It's not necessarily something
Oh,
that's inspiring me per se,
okay.
but I have some really good friends who um I've known them for 10 years, maybe 11 years.
Hmm.
And it's a family of four, Tyreek Wesley and Shakira Wesley, and they have two kids, Tyson Wesley and Jordan Wesley. And both of their children have sickle cell. If you don't know what
Yeah.
sickle cell is like a blood
Hmm.
disease that causes your blood cells to be shaped like sickles, and so your
Hmm.
the blood cells get caught, and you have these crises, and
Yeah.
it's a terrible situation. So my friends have been in the hospital since last
Mm.
Tuesday with their daughter Jordan. and it's sad to say, but this has become a normal thing, for us.
Yeah.
Every couple of months, we'll get that phone call. Hey,
Right.
Jordan's in the hospital. Hey, Tyson's in the hospital.
Yeah.
But these friends of mine, they are absolute fighters, and so since they've gotten this diagnosis of their children having sickle cell, they started an organization called We Eat for Life, fighting sickle cell one healthy bite at a time. And so they've gone vegan, and they're just
Mm.
telling their story, and they're working on, trying to create this community of people who, have sickle cell, but are doing everything that they can to stay healthy, remain healthy,
Mhm.
and all of those
Mhm.
things. And so I just wanted to, bring some awareness to that.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
also wanted to share their Cash App. Today, I talked to Tyreek, and I was just like, "Bro, what do y'all need?" And he was
Yeah.
like, "Man, we've been in the hospital since last Tuesday.
Yeah.
It's a lot of eating out. It's a lot of,
Yeah.
because they're basically living at the hospital. And so
Right. Right.
I just wanted to, put their Cash App up. And if anybody watching this wants to,
Yeah.
donate to
Please.
that, give to them, and just, look out for them in this time, that would be great. Like I said, they're fighters, you know what I'm saying? And so we got the update today. She's doing better. But they're still not quite out of the woods yet. So they're just waiting
Mhm.
for her lungs to clear up. So she's been on like a breathing machine, and it's
Mhm.
been a lot. It's been a lot, you know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? And it's been a lot. So again, like I said, I just wanted to use this platform to let everybody know and bring some awareness.
Absolutely.
And if you can help, if you can send some money, that would be amazing. And I think that's it. So and also, again, check their website out, We Eat for Life. I know they have
Yeah.
some really cool things coming up, just in terms of things that they're going to be trying to do for the community and in the school system and things like that. So yeah, just be
Mhm.
looking out for them, and we'll probably plug them more. Maybe even
Put them
have
on the socials, like
yeah,
everything. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
for
So
sure.
um, so yeah, I think that's it. I think that's it.
Way to start us off. Woo. Talk
Uh,
about burnout.
right, we here. So Kayla, do you have anything else that you would like to?
No.
Right, right.
No, other than like, holy crap, please, please go to the website, go to the Cash App, let's plug it.
Yes,
I'm
check
ready
them
to sign out now. I'm just worried about comic books. Like, geez.
out. Right? Oh man, I dropped it heavy on us, but I thought it was good to let everybody know.
No, no,
So
absolutely.
so let's move on to our topic. Today, like I said, we're going to talk about creative burnout, and we found an article
We did.
that talks about creative burnout. It actually talks about, it doesn't use the word burnout. I think it talks about, it's called Five Ways to Overcome Artist Block. And
Yeah.
it's written by J.L. Davis from DePaul University. And I'm not sure if it's a he or she, but they give a
They.
um huh
Oh, just they.
they they give a I guess five um techniques or tactics
Hmm.
you can use to
Hmm.
overcome artist block. And what's interesting about this is that when we first started working together, one of the things I asked you was, do you get artist block like I get
Hmm.
writer's block?
Yes. Yes.
And you were like, yeah. And I was like, okay,
Of
cool.
course I
So so let's jump right in. The first one is to zone out and to go from there.
do.
So
Hmm.
that he gives is, I think he even says like it could be counterintuitive, but this is a moment for you to
Yeah.
sort of like, again, zone out, space
Right.
out, and just let
Right.
yourself just sort of daydream and see what you see in this dream-like state.
Yeah. Yeah.
Kayla Rainey, what do you think about that?
I have an issue with this, but I think it's a personal issue though. I don't think it's like a universal issue. I think it is a like I am I am a clinically severely anxious person. And if you ask me to just sit by myself and like zone out in my own head, nothing good comes of that. Absolutely nothing.
Okay.
Like Yeah, no, I had, this is for real. I had a therapist once that called it depressive rumination,
Oh,
where
wow. Okay.
yes, you get so, it's like a, it's something that happens for people who have like pretty severe anxiety and depression. And it's this phenomenon where if you are like purposefully trying to empty your mind and zone out, you have a tendency to catch onto like one subject and it just spirals out of control. Where it can be something as simple as, I really wasn't happy with that like layout that I did. And then
Mm,
you start to obsess over it.
right, right,
And then
right.
the obsession turns into like really negative self-talk. And then you start thinking like, oh my God, I'm gonna have to like quit my job and tell everybody like I'm leaving comics forever. I'm sorry.
Right, right.
I'm moving out of the country. Like it just it becomes this total clusterfuck. So this one does not work for me. This
So,
one does
oh,
not work for me. Mm-mm.
so what's interesting about this is I do this.
Yes, I know you do.
Yeah, so I do, but I think um, a couple of qualifiers.
Hmm.
I think that this one, there are moments when I do this, and they usually happen in between sleep state and like waking up,
Oh,
right in
okay.
that space.
Yeah,
To
yeah,
me, that's what I think this zone out is. Like, I feel like
yeah,
you can like purposely force yourself to zone out,
yeah,
but I think the same thing happens like right when I wake up in the morning or when
yeah.
I have the best story ideas.
Okay.
And so I think that's the space, right? So that's the first.
Yes.
The second thing though, too, I think is that this is meditation. So when you meditate,
Uh-huh.
right, you can get fixated on, like you
Uh-huh.
said, on like that one thing. But
Uh-huh.
the art of meditation is to notice, okay, I had that thought, okay, let it go.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
so I don't know. I use this all the time. I use this all the
I
time.
think you're just saying that you're a more well-adjusted human being than I am, Ro. I think
Well,
you're actually just flexing on me right now. Like my mental health is slightly better than yours.
no, no, that's not what I'm saying. That's not what I'm saying. All I'm saying is that I think we
Yes.
just use this technique a little bit different.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. I
You know,
totally agree. I will say so I don't use like that sort of meditative technique and I'm the type of anxiety personality type where as soon as I wake up I'm in crisis mode, so there is no sort of like floating in and out of good ideas for me. But what
okay.
I will say is I'm just constantly in crisis mode. That's the secret. It's how I create enough energy to do as many things as I do. It's
Right,
like
right.
constant adrenaline. My fight or flight mode is just whew, on overdrive. Um, but I will say so I do something as an artist that is similar to this where I kind of reset if I'm really struggling with a piece of artwork. Normally it's with comics. I find this a lot happening a lot more with comics than I do with um, like fine art illustrations or paintings. If I find myself like really stuck in that process, I put it away and then I do basically, we've talked about this before, like automatic drawing,
Yeah,
where I'll just kind of like let whatever comes out come out. And I won't do it on my tablet. Like I have a really hard time doing it digitally. It's something that I have to go back to paper for.
yeah,
So I have like a couple journals that are like right above my desk that I keep nearby. And those are my like automatic drawing journals. And it does, it kind of creates like sort of what you're talking about. Like it sort of resets and it allows me to like work out things subconsciously before I move on from there.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And I
Yeah.
think
Yeah.
something he says in the article is that he mentions like allowing your mind to go blank to refill
Yeah.
with new ideas. And so I feel like
Mhm.
that's what you're
Mhm.
saying.
Mhm.
You got to
Yeah.
get some stuff out in order to
Yeah.
refill. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I was just being melodramatic about
But it was good. It worked. It worked. It worked. So moving on to our next one,
do.
take a walk outside.
Yes.
And I feel like this is a very common, this is a
Hmm.
common thing that people say. Hey, I get
Yeah.
stuck and I take a walk.
Yeah.
How do you feel about this one? What do you think?
Yeah, this one's really true for me. And in the article too, it specifically says if you're in a city like New York or Chicago or someplace like that, it can be really stimulating. And I agree with that completely. Like for those of you who don't know, like I'm originally from Brooklyn, New York, and that was and still is something that I really miss about living in the city. There's a big difference between the walks that I go on here in Apopka, Florida, versus the walks that I was going on in Brooklyn.
Yeah, yeah,
And it's two totally different experiences, but it was always something like I in art school, like it is pretty normal for you to spend 15, 20 hours straight in the studio. And I would have to make myself get up, go on a walk. I would usually end up like on the Brooklyn Bridge or like going over into Chinatown or something like that. And it would just sort of like revitalize you with the energy that you absorbed through the city versus here I go on walks or I go to the tennis courts or something like that as a way to get away from my workspace and sort of recenter myself, calm myself down, and then come back.
yeah. So the aspect of this that I love that Jail talks about is
Hmm.
taking note of what you're seeing and take like have
Yeah.
questions
Yeah. Yeah.
and those become like starters for the creativity that you're trying
Right.
to get out.
Right.
And so I think that's the part that I don't hear talked about often.
Hmm.
Is they say, yeah, go for the walk,
Hmm. Hmm.
but
But what are you doing on the
what are
walk?
you doing on the walk? And I
Yeah.
think
Yeah.
there's space for walking and not really doing anything.
Yeah.
But I like
Yeah.
the idea of going for the walk and being intentional about
Hmm.
what I'm
Hmm.
seeing, what I'm not seeing, what I'm
Yeah.
feeling as I'm seeing it. And I think there's something I I typically don't go for a walk.
Yeah.
Um, just because I have a hard time like walking and running unless like if I'm not playing a game, I'm like, why am I
Right.
doing this? Like
Right.
what am I trying to win? Who am I trying to beat? Like
Yes.
walk and run?
Yeah.
Like what? I have a hard time doing that. But I do think that there's, when I was younger, when I was a kid,
Yeah.
I used to have like this little like Nerf basketball.
Uh-huh.
And I used to walk back and forth in my house with this Nerf basketball, and I would throw it
Mm.
against the wall, and I would
Yeah.
catch it, and I would throw it against the wall. I would just do that over and over again, walking back and forth. But the whole time, I was just thinking about stories.
Right.
Thinking about
Right.
I might be writing a song back when I was doing music. I'm writing a song, but I'm throwing the ball against the wall. You know what I'm saying? I'm doing
Yeah.
different things.
Yeah.
But it's uh, something about moving your body
Mhm.
that begins to
Mhm.
spark for me at least, it begins to spark that creative, those creative juices. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Right.
So yeah, I think I would try this one. Taking a walk, like it.
Cool.
Like it.
It's our
So
seal of approval.
right. Now we're moving on to my favorite thing.
I think I know which one this is.
We're taking naps, baby. Let's go. We're taking naps. Kayla, talk to me. How do you feel about this?
No. No. No.
No.
But look, I really think that maybe I'm wrong about this, and I'm willing to
Oh,
admit
you're wrong. Oh, you're
it.
definitely wrong.
I'm willing to admit it because in the last probably 6 months since I've met you and since I've become a little bit more involved in other creatives processes, uh, I have a bunch of creative friends who take naps during the day. Like my husband takes naps during the day, and I'm like,
They're
how?
important.
How do you guys do it?
They're
I don't
important.
understand. And they're like, no, it is life-giving. It is like what you have to do. And I did it a couple of times by accident like 2 weeks ago because it was just yeah, I know. I can't intentionally do it, but if I we have this like very comfortable like big bucket chair that has like a big ottoman, and it's just big enough for me to like snuggle up into with like my headphones and an audiobook on. And usually one of our dogs will kind of like crawl
That's
in there and like cram themselves in, and they'll be like, "It's nap time, mom."
that
And
sounds lovely.
yeah, yeah. So I fell asleep for like 30 or 45 minutes. And when I woke up, I looked at my husband and I was like, I think you were right. I think I should be taking naps.
Yes, he's right. He's absolutely right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I love naps. They are. I'm really trying to think of something that I like more than naps.
Than a nap.
I really can't think of something. I mean, I mean, there's just something. It just restarts the day. You know what I'm saying? It just I get I don't know. So I get tired like really quickly throughout the day.
Uh-huh.
Like
Uh-huh.
when I wake up in the morning at like 6 or 7. By
Yeah.
noon, I'm tired. Like
You're
I'm
done.
exhausted. And so I'm like, I can feel like my brain start to like
Yeah.
sluggish, like I can feel it.
Yeah.
And when I first got married, my wife actually was like, I would take a nap and she'd be like, "What are you doing? Like, I need you to help with this. Like, you can't take a nap."
Right. Why are you sleeping?
Right. Like, all right, I won't take a nap. And then she saw how I was
And
without
she's
my
like,
nap. And
oh.
you
Hmm.
need to take a nap. And so
Yeah.
now it's just like,
Yeah.
okay, are you taking a nap today? Like, what's going
Yeah. Yeah.
on? And so for me, I mean, this is, and he in the article they talk about almost that sleep state, right? Where
Yeah.
before you
Yeah.
fall asleep, you can have those ideas, and when you wake up, you can have those ideas. I usually don't have ideas when I wake up from a nap,
Yeah.
but I just know, like, if I'm writing or if I'm working, and I can already feel like, okay, I need to chill. I need to take
Mm-hmm.
a nap.
Mm-hmm.
Once I get up from the nap, it's like waking up in the morning again. I basically everybody works on 24 hours. I work on like 10 hours.
10-hour
I got to
increments.
take a nap, get up like 10 hours. Then, you know what I'm saying?
I wish. Oh man, I wish that I could be like that. I just have such a hard time sleeping. I think that that's my biggest problem.
So what's interesting about that is I have a hard time
Oh,
sleeping at night.
maybe because you're napping during the day.
No, I don't think that.
Look
I
out,
don't,
no. I refuse to believe that has anything to do with it.
don't even say that. Don't
Oh
even.
my gosh.
Oh, okay.
Hmm.
Moving on to the
Hmm.
next.
Hmm. Yeah.
Restart parentheses in a
Mm-hmm.
clean space. Close.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
How do we feel about this one?
For me,
Yeah.
okay, so something that you may or may not know about me, I'm super OCD.
Oh,
I
you didn't think I
yeah.
knew? You thought I was.
Yeah. You think is that a surprise for you?
Yeah, no, I'm aware. It's clear. It's clear.
I'm super OCD. Yeah. Yeah. I have like chores that I have given myself that I have to do throughout the day, or else I cannot like sit down and work.
Okay.
And it's not just my workspace. It's like there's little things like if like my kitchen has dirty dishes, like I can't sit down at my desk. If like there has like my house hasn't been vacuumed, I can't sit down at my desk. Like no, it's bad. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, it's not. Let's not characterize it as bad. It's just.
It's
It's
the only way that I can
it's
function.
part of who you are. Part of who you are. So this, I mean, this jives with you then. Like you're like, yeah, like,
Oh
re-
yeah.
like if you get stuck, it's like, hey, I need to go clean.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh,
Okay.
absolutely. Yeah,
So
scrubbing the tub or like cleaning out my bathroom drawers, like that is an instant, like, okay, gold star in my brain, instant serotonin. I'm ready to go back to work.
yeah, so I think what I was thinking about when I saw this was even if you aren't OCD, I think
Hmm.
everybody sort of has this feeling at like
Yeah.
New Year's and like spring cleaning, right? When
Hmm.
it's time to like, okay, we're moving
Hmm.
into a fresh
Hmm.
new year. We're starting
Yep.
something new, like we're getting
Yep.
started. It's like, okay, let's get
Yep.
clean first. Let's get organized. Let's do this, right? So I think that there definitely is. So I'm not OCD. Like I can definitely I can sit down and start working anywhere for the most
Yeah.
part. But when I get stuck, I will start to look around and say, all right, I need to,
What can I
like,
do?
it's dirty in here. Like, let me clean up. And if I
Yeah.
get up and I start cleaning, but I think this is about moving your body, right? Because I'm moving my
Yeah.
body. I'm like doing, I'm
Yeah.
vacuuming, I'm sweeping, I'm taking the trash out, I'm doing all this stuff. Then it's like, okay, I come back in, I feel accomplished, but oh, it's clean in here.
See?
Everything is
See?
like smells good. So then it's like, okay, cool. And then I think that's where that restart happens. So
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
this is a good one. I think this is definitely a good
I
one.
will say, because I'm just realizing this as I like look around my desk, the irony of this is everything around me has to be clean, but the space that I'm actually working in is usually total chaos,
Yeah, I was thinking that too.
especially when I'm painting. Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
was thinking that about because I've seen glimpses of your office. I'm like, okay,
Yes. Yes.
it's not like you're like straightening shelves and doing all
No.
this stuff. It's just, I get it though. No, it makes sense. I get it. I get it. I get it. So let me ask you this, because I remember um when y'all had the dust in your house.
Yes.
How impactful for that?
Oh,
Like,
oh
was
my
that like,
God.
oh
Oh,
my,
it was like a nightmare. It was and I think the only reason that I didn't have a total meltdown over that is because almost exactly a year before, we'd had such a bad termite infestation in the house before. I mean, oh, I can't believe I haven't told you or everyone else this story. It was happening when I was animating the Dear Mother music video. My husband and I had just moved into this house, and we'd been in there maybe less than 2 weeks. And I was putting stuff away in the kitchen, and I heard this noise
stop it.
coming from, it's like, Armand, if you're tuning in, I know you don't like horror, so like tune the fuck out right now
I was about to
because
say, oh my, get out of here, man.
you
Get out of here.
you
Crazy.
gotta leave. Because I heard like a buzzing noise, and I thought like maybe it was the wiring, or I thought it was electricity. I opened the door to our
No,
bedroom, which
stop
was shut. It was shimmering. The floor was moving and shimmering because there were so many of these termites that had just burst through the walls.
it. No way. That's
Oh, I mean, it was unbelievable. We called it like obviously, I was like, what the actual fuck? I sealed the room with electrical tape because there were so many they were starting to like pool out from under the door. Yeah, I it was like unbelievable. And the guy that came out to handle it, he looks inside, he shuts the door and he goes, I've been doing this for 25 years. I've never seen anything like this in my life.
stop it.
It was tens of thousands of termites. It was unbelievable. And the whole house was like that. It was so infested. It was my worst fucking nightmare. And I still was able to finish the animation for Dear Mother despite those conditions. It was the worst. I mean, it took us 3 weeks to get out of that house the entire time with that happening. They came in and they did like it
It
was
took
called
y'all
disaster
three
clean. It
weeks.
took us 3 weeks
Stop it.
for
I would have
yeah,
been over there right that moment.
it was I mean like we wanted to be we did not have a choice.
Oh my goodness.
We did not have a choice. They like kept coming in and cleaning them up and then like another swarm would come through. I mean, it was unbelievable. I think, but because that had happened a year before, I think I was able to survive the dust storm that happened in
Wow.
our house
Wow.
where everything was covered in a layer of dust. Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. And so that brings us full circle to restarting in a clean space.
Now that
Yes,
I've made everyone sick to their stomach.
yes, yes, yes. Um, so let's move on to our next one.
Go for it.
This is also one that I really like.
Uh-huh.
All a friend.
Look at you.
Or,
I
or,
know this.
or send your friend a voice note.
Or five.
Or five. Hey, Kayla, you want to hear this new idea I'm playing with?
Yeah, yeah. Uh-huh.
I love this one.
How, how
I,
many times a week do you think I get that text message?
I mean, for a while, it was like multiple times a day. It was just like, hey, I have this
Yes.
other idea. I don't know if you want to hear it, but
Uh-huh.
I don't even know if it's good. But you want to hear this idea? I can tell it to you.
Uh-huh.
You're always so gracious. You're like, absolutely. I'm like,
Of
what?
course
Let's
I
do it.
do.
And yeah, talk to me. Do you like doing? Do you call friends and talk about your ideas?
I do what you do. I do a lot of like voice notes and texting, and I have like a pretty close knit. There's like you, there's my really good friend Addison, and
Shout out to Addison. Shout out to Addison.
yeah, yeah. I think that's it. I think you guys are my two like ride or dies, and you're the ones that I just everything that comes into my head, I'm like, let me tell you about this. Let me tell you about this. What
Well,
about this? How about this? I was thinking
yeah.
about this. Yeah.
So I really I love talking through ideas
Hmm. Yeah.
because I can get stuck in the trenches of like, I don't know how to,
Hmm.
I don't know about
Hmm.
this, I don't know about that.
Yeah.
But when I tell somebody, I like to get that instant like feed, like,
Yeah.
okay, sort of lackluster, or
Yeah.
oh, I like
Yeah.
the concept. I can get that feel. I'm like, okay, cool, I can keep going with it. So I think I have, I mean, you're definitely like the person I tell you all the
All my secrets.
Um, and then I have another friend. His name is Elisha. He's an actor. He lives in New York. He, I mean, we'll get on the phone and we'll talk for like 4 hours, 4 or 5 hours.
Oh man.
And I'm like, bro, but he's the type where he'll call me and say, hey, what are you working on? You know what I'm saying? And I'll be like,
Oh.
talk about it. Boom. And I'll just start hitting him with like whatever it is I'm working.
What?
And he's like, that's it. And I'm like, no, I got this other thing too. I'm doing this.
You should know
And
better.
the other thing about him too is that he'll say,
Mm,
yo, I like that idea, but what
yeah.
about this? And
Oh
he'll
my
like add to
God.
it. And then I'll be like, yo, you're right. And I'm like, oh, what if
Oh
we did
my
this?
God.
And vice versa. I'll call him and I'll say, what's good? What you working on? What you thinking about?
Yeah. Yeah.
We'll do that. So I
You
think
guys
it's
are each other's enablers. Like that's really what that is.
yeah, basically. Um, but it's just cool. Like writing can be, and I feel like it's like this for artists too. Correct me if
Hmm.
I'm wrong, but it can be so solitary
Yeah.
sometimes that
Yeah.
to have somebody that you can bounce ideas off of, even if, because a lot of times, like I told you this the other day, I'm like, I'm telling you this idea, but now I'm realizing as I'm saying it out loud, it's really
Right.
not even it's not even full yet. Like I thought it
Yeah.
was full, like
Yeah.
it felt really good, and then I said it, and I'm like, oh, there's not much here. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and so I don't know. It just helps like with that whole process. You know what I'm saying? Like being able to
Yeah.
hear it and see it and talk about it with somebody. You feel me?
I think it's funny because I notice this like in the art community a lot. I don't know if this is the same in like the writing community, but there's this really sort of ironic dichotomy between artists are typically very introverted. We're people that like to kind of crawl into our art caves and not come out for a really long time. And I mean, I definitely am like a very solitary person. If my husband did not like encourage me to go out and be in the world, I would not. I would be like in my art cave. But we thrive in communities. So it's this very weird state of you get so involved in what you're doing, so wrapped up in your idea, so wrapped up in your project that unless you actively are seeking out a community or you have a community of people that are poking at that wall to be like, hey, hey, you still there? Like, how you doing?
Right.
Talk to us. Like, you wouldn't come out. And I find that your work improves so much when you have that community to sort of like talk through it with, to put another set of eyes on it. Like, I think that I have taken some good pieces and made them exceptional because I have gotten other eyes on them, or because I had somebody like that was in a community setting be like, well, what if you did this, or what if you did this? So I think we forget how important it is to have like other people involved in our creative process, especially because we spend so much time alone, just like as the nature of creating.
Yeah. And I think for me, this is something that I'm keenly aware of.
Yeah,
And for a long time, I didn't have like for Elisha to call me and say, "What are you working on?" Like, I don't know anybody, like nobody's ever done that for me. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Like you,
yeah.
I don't even know if you've done it. I don't even know if you've like,
I don't know if I've just like called you out of the blue and been like, "Hey, what you doing? What you
yeah,
working
yeah,
on?"
yeah.
Yeah,
Like I'm
yeah,
usually just offering it up, like,
yeah,
hey,
yeah,
this is what I'm doing. What do you think?
yeah. You're
Um,
serving me ideas. I
yeah,
like
yeah, yeah. And
it.
so I think like somebody I was talking to somebody the other day, and I was telling them like, yo, like, oh, it was actually Elisha. I'm like, yo, I'm working with Kayla, and like things have been like super dope. We're building, we're doing this, and
Yeah, yeah,
he was like, yo, like you're really building a community around your work
yeah,
and your passion. He was like, it's beautiful. And I'm like, yo, you're right. I'm like, you're a part of that community, like you and Kayla, and then just all the people that's coming around. You know what I'm saying? And
yeah,
it's really not a lot of people now that I'm thinking about it, but it's just like these select few people that I have in my life now that I know like I can tell them these ideas and they'll tell
yeah.
me like, yo, that you probably need to do this, or they'll say, oh, this is great, or work on this. Um, and so I think, like you said, I think sometimes we forget about it, but I think sometimes we're keenly aware that we need the community, but we just don't know where to look for that
Mm-hmm.
community. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
That
right.
was one of the questions when I was on the panel at BlurCon. They were asking, like, well, how do I get feedback? How do I find writers my stuff?
Yeah,
And I was telling them, I'm like, well, the first step I think is to offer first. You know
yeah,
what I'm saying? Like when I talk to writers, I'm
yeah.
like, hey, if you need me to read something, let me know. I got you.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because you got to give first in order
Yeah,
to get that sometimes. You know what I'm saying?
absolutely.
So yes. So I think, oh, go.
Oh, I was just gonna mention too, because like as you're saying that, I'm thinking about how often I hear that as somebody who has mentored a lot of like young artists and young creators, and that's a question that you get like on the art side of things too, like, well, where do I go to find like critiques? Where do I go to find constructive criticism, advice, etc.? And for a long time, like the only resources that you had, especially during the pandemic, was like online. Well, go to the forums, go to the groups, like do this, do that. But there was so much kind of vitriol and drama and the risk of putting your stuff out there and like having your feelings really hurt for no reason and having people sort of like tear you down just to be dicks, like that risk of that, and trying to explain to people, well, like that's not your community, those are just dicks on the internet. Like there's a difference between your community and the people that you have cultivated to be a part of your community, that if you are giving in the way that you want to receive, then you won't have like that problem. If you're offering up critique, if you're offering up constructive criticism in a way that is truly constructive and not just tearing somebody down, I really believe that you will receive it back that way. So that's just like an important note for people that are just starting out.
Yeah, for sure. I completely agree.
Yeah.
Completely agree.
Yeah.
Um, so I mean, I think overall, I really liked this list. Um,
Yeah.
the first one was zone out and go
Yep.
from there. The second one
Yep.
was take a walk outside,
Yep.
take a nap. The best one, I would
To
say.
be determined.
You even said you took a nap and you realized. the error of your ways. You
Well, also, look, I had been sleeping for like less than 5 hours a night at that point too, so I could have just really needed sleep.
hence the nap was what you needed. Come on, there's no way around it. You need
We'll
these
see.
naps.
We'll
Okay.
see.
Restart in a clean space. We like that one.
Hmm.
Okay.
Yes.
And call a friend. My last question before we get out of here:
Yeah.
is there anything on that wasn't on this list that you used to overcome artist block?
I think the only thing that I would mention is that when I'm really experiencing artist block, not in like a work kind of way, but in like my personal creation way, like my personal studio time, if I'm experiencing artist block like that, I will generally purposefully seek out things that I know inspire me. So, like, I have a collection of like reference books that have drawings and illustrations from artists that I love. Like, I have a lot of art books, I have a lot of anatomy books. I have I have created these spaces that I can kind of go to in order to sort of replenish that creative cup, you know? And I think that's really important. And I didn't really see anything about that, like conscientiously creating like spaces that you can go to for that.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I agree. I think I do the same thing with, like, if I'm stuck, I'll just read.
Hmm.
I'll go read,
Yeah, yeah.
or I'll just get on Pinterest and I'll just look at images,
Yes.
whatever. You
Yes.
know what I'm saying? So
Yes.
I think who said that quote? I want to say it was ooh, Stephen King, maybe. I don't know. I don't know who said the quote, but they were talking about, like, when you're basically, like, when you're blocked, read.
Yeah.
When you're like full of like thoughts, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
there are these seasons of, okay, right now I need to fill my cup. I need to fill,
Yeah.
I need to watch a movie,
Yeah.
to watch that
Yeah.
anime, I need to read that,
Yeah.
to just get all this stuff inside of me. And
Yeah.
then there's the season of, okay, now just turn that stuff out into your, you
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? So,
Yeah.
it's the ebb and the flow. And I
Hmm.
think that's the
Hmm.
other thing about creativity is that it's such a it's a give and a take.
Yeah.
It's a
Yeah.
balance. I mean, just it's the way of nature, right? Things are always,
Yeah.
coming and going, giving and taking. It's the way we breathe, right? Inhale, exhale. You can't do
Yeah.
the same thing the whole time. You gotta, what I'm saying, switch off. So
Yeah. Yeah.
I think it's just a part of the process. It's a part of the process. So um yeah, I think that's it. I think that's our
I think
time.
so. Yeah.
Thank you guys so much for tuning in and spending some time with us.
Yes.
We are on TikTok, Instagram, and it's getting nice over there. I gotta say, it's getting nice.
Yeah, it
Uh,
is.
Kayla is killing with the graphics.
Oh,
Like,
I don't know about that.
you know about that. You know about it. It's amazing. Oh, I love it. I love it. So the graphics are going. We're reaching out to more people, finding more
Yes.
guests. And so I'm excited about the future of this show. We're excited to grow with you all.
Yeah.
So follow us on Instagram, follow us on TikTok, and is there anywhere else they need to follow us? On
I
on
don't think so.
YouTube, on
Oh,
YouTube,
yes. Yes. Make sure you're
like it,
subscribing to
subscribe,
where we are streaming from right
yes,
now.
yes, yes. Share this with your people.
Yes.
Um, and also, before we get out of here, I just wanted to plug my people one last time.
Yes.
WeEatForLife.com, fighting sickle cell one healthy bite at a time. They're doing
Yes.
some great work, and they have some things coming up in the future that's going to be great. So definitely keep an eye out for them. And as I said, they've been in the hospital since last Tuesday.
Yeah.
And so if anybody, feels compelled to send them some support financially, to just help them, like, buy food and just be good while they're taking care of their daughter, that would be lovely. So again, We Eat for Life, that's the organization they have. And with that, unless Kayla, you have something else you would like to say to the people, with
No.
that, we are out of here. We love you guys so much. Thank you for being here, and we are gone.